Welcome to Xixona, the cradle of that delicious nougat called Torró. Xixona is located on the border between the Mediterranean Sea and the mountains leading to Valencia and Madrid. It was raised at the bottom of the Sierra de la Carrasqueta, having the rock called Peña del Migjorn as a historical witness. You can sight the Mediterranean Sea from its magnificent castle. This sea was the source of the corsair menace, but also the exit to new routes and the entrance used by many cultures and villages. It is very close to Alicante, and it's an important port. One of its royal privileges, inherited from the Middle Ages, is the defense of the Alicante castle. Xixona is protected by its medieval castle, the Peña Migjorn, the mountain range called Montagut, and the Carrasqueta, as well as its rivers and its streams, such as the Cosco and the Montnegre. Xixona is a hard-working town which takes care of its tradition and its most deeply rooted festivities, such as the well-known Moros and Cristianos. It is therefore a town specializing in the production sectors of turrón and ice cream. Xixona is synonymous with industry. The manufacture of turrón provides Xixona with a distinctive touch and its world-famous reputation due to the handmade and industrial production of this universal sweet, whose cradle and reference has been held by Xixona for many centuries. Xixona is a gathering of cultures, a land on the border between the old kingdoms of Aragon and Castilla. Its vast municipality places this town very close to the sea and surrounded by the typical Mediterranean mountains of pine and oak trees. The oak wood in the Carrasqueta provides it with personality, and what in the past was a natural barrier has become now an environmental privilege. There is evidence of the presence of human life in Xixona 5,000 years before Christ, in the Neolithic period, because of the cave paintings found in La Sarga. These paintings have been considered World Heritage and can be visited easily through the Museum of Alcoy. The Iberian towns of Santa Barbara and La Solana de Nuches has also special relevance. We can also find in one of its boundaries the Tibi Reservoir, which is considered to be the oldest reservoir of Europe still running. But it's the Muslim presence, the one that will leave a special mark in its history, the Muslim castle in the most relevant example, but also the farming, the toponymy, and their tools to work the land. The location of the castle allows the control of the valley leading to Tibi and Alcoy, as well as a good access from the sea. It was a defensive fortification flanked by 5 towers. Out of all of them, the Torre Grossa still remains and reminds us of the past of these lands. The Saracen command ends in 1258, when the Christians conquered Xixona, thanks to the persistence and the warlike power of the king Jaume I. Some centuries after that, Xixona becomes a strategic town in the defense of the coast of Alicante against the attacks of the corsairs, and it was thanks to Xixona's support to the King Philip V in the Spanish Succession War that they received the privileges that would provide them with the condition of city, the possibility of carrying arms, and the assignment of defending the castle of Alicante. Almonds, honey, sugar, and egg white. That's the basic secret recipe of the delicacy by which Xixona is known around the world. Xixona is synonymous with turrón. Those are two words that have been combined for many centuries. Xixona manufactures this Christmas sweet in a handmade way, but also using the latest technology. The turrón was made with household devices at the very beginning, then using the steam power, and currently using the latest and most sophisticated technology. Xixona and its people have managed to protect their brands and their genuine touch of its sweet with the support of the Torró Regulatory Council, created to protect the industry, its projection, and the expansion outside its barriers. Xixona means to run, but also ice cream, the other important traditional industry. It is difficult to find a city in Spain without an establishment which selling ice creams from Xixona, or as they are more commonly known, los gijonencos. Many of Xijona's inhabitants live all over Spain in the towns and cities where their ice creams are sold. This is also a handmade process with very old workshops. In the past, the people from Xixona took advantage of the snow stored in the surrounding caves so they could carry this refreshing and nutritious dessert to relatively far territories. Xixona has probably got the most powerful company in Alicante. It's called Ausonia Arbora and employs more than 500 families, which manufacture products from the feminine personal hygiene and for babies. This company competes perfectly and equally well in the national and international markets. Xixona means contrast. It's a humid land with never-ending oak trees, but it's also very close to the Mediterranean Sea with its open and friendly nature. Xixona means a raw, cold winter and a white layer that covers everything unexpectedly, despite its closeness to the sea. Xixona also means dryness, muddy rocks, and desert bushes. Xixona means unwearying springs. The fountain called Font de Vivens is a real sight, as well as the El Sal del Moro, a mirage in the middle of the desert, so close to the Mediterranean. The landscape routes are never-ending through their most emblematic peaks, such as the Midjorn, and also the walk in the steep and curious spot called La Libreria, whose funny forms remind us to certain moments from the Far West cinema. Xixona was and still is an agricultural land. This is due to its Muslim influence, but mainly to the resources that its vast and varied lands has to offer. 162 square kilometers, fruit trees grown in dry land, and especially a large expanse of almond trees which are ideal for the making of the turrón. There is a wonderful route with 9 snow wells in the county, and 5 of them belong to Xixona. They are called el del Surdo, de la Carrasqueta, del Mas de San Ignasi, del Mas de la Castellana, and de la Caseta de Miralles. Traditional dances have survived throughout the years thanks to the families of Xixona. Therefore, the Group de Dances stands out in the cultural life of Xixona. This dance takes more than 100 dancers out to the streets on the popular day called La Danza. Tradition says that the lady has to be picked up from her house by her partner in order to dance in the main square and wear her best dress. They also carry nice fans that have been passed on from fathers to sons and from mothers to daughters. All this being decorated with jasmine flowers and the music from the rich Valencian repertoire. There are 2 types of dresses, the working day and the celebration day one. The first one is more conventional, but not less beautiful, and the second includes a silk skirt, an embroidered scarf, and a fan made according to the style of the 17th and 19th century. The Christmas market assembles many people in the historic center, who are very keen on tasting the turrones and sweets from Xixona. The most deeply rooted and curious event is probably the Rodada de les Eixames, where dry esparto grass torches are made to roll on the floor, while lit with the purifying fire of the night of the 24th of December. The torches are rolled by children so that they can win some of the Christmas pocket money. Xixona lives to the full the Moorish and Christians festivities. They have been celebrated for more than 200 years and make the people from Xixona very proud. It was in the 16th century that some of the towns from Denia to Alicante would ask the surrounding towns for help in order to repel the attacks of the Turkish pirates. This is how small groups of soldiers from Alcoy, Penàguila, and Xixona would attend to help. And this is also the origin of the festivities. Bartolomé is the patron saint, and Sebastian the second patron saint, and they both are honored by the villa at the end of August. This miracle is remembered on the closest Saturday to the 24th of July by a multitudinous procession and popular parades. August. Xixona dresses up and gathers a great amount of visitors and many neighbors who live outside Xixona in order to enjoy 3 long and intense days of celebrations. First of all, the musicians are paid homage. Groups from several counties go to Xixona in order to make this show possible. The whole town listens to the Paso Doble called Fiesta en Xixona, very early in the morning. This music was created by Vicente Pla Candela, a maestro from Xixona. Xixona becomes a town taken by Moors and Christians, who will defend the castle with dynamite, swords, and something else. Water! Each of the opposing sides, also known as filais or comparsas, have all kinds of water gadgets to defend themselves and are accompanied by their own band of music. They fight their neighbors and other groups through the historic center, using water as their only weapon. This exciting event opens officially the Moorish and Christian parades, the most followed event by the families of Xixona, who prepare them thoroughly for a whole year. 10 comparsas, 5 Christians and 5 Moorish, display their power and troops followed by their bands. Each fila display their own clothing and armaments. The Moorish and Christian captains are the flag bearers, and they make sure that their entourage is adorned with spectacular carriages and also squads designed for the occasion. The corporal directs the troops to the final triumph. The Christian captain and the flag bearer stands up to the Moorish opponent. The aesthetic touch is there with special ballets and carriages. The Moors show off their war makeup, their dancers and their musical shows, while throwing themselves into the conquer of the castle. And we can't forget the dynamite. The arquebus battles fill the air with an intense and pleasant atmosphere that attracts the foreign curiosity. The Geladors party allows ice cream workers to enjoy this celebration in low season. They pay homage to the Assumption Virgin in a traditional offering. They dress up with the typical costumes from the different regions where they live. Xixona is also a cultural reference point in terms of music. Its band was created in 1878, and it nourishes from young musicians that inherit this tradition from their parents. And we also find other up-and-coming professionals, such as writers and painters, that consider Xixona their homeland. A group of dolçainers, which are musicians who play a very particular type of flute, is another reference point in constant evolution. And we can't help talking about the traditional gastronomy. Curiously enough, the most ordered dishes are those served in the war or the post-war period. Stews were made on a low flame with common ingredients and easy to grow. This is what the star dish, a stew called girabois, contains: wheat, potatoes, onions, black pudding, peppers, tomatoes, garlic, eggs, and cod. All this has been previously boiled, and the resulting soup is decorated with garlic and olive oil. The second dish is the remaining vegetables, plus the egg and the cod. But the mentioned girabois is not the only dish original from Xixona. They also have the burreta, a stew made with spinach, cod, garlic, and egg, several types of rice, and then also gazpachos. The chelere is another stew made with rice, chickpeas, guts, and stuffed meat. Xixona is the cradle of Torró: ice cream, Moors and Christians, music, history of riots and the control of castles and towns. And Xixona is the land of contrast in this orography. With its own gastronomy, its own traditions, Xixona means industry. Xixona is unique. You won't forgive yourself if you don't go and visit it.